So I received 3 questions here, and I'm going to go through each one of them and answer them in separate videos. But the first question is, if I have a stereo mixdown, is there a way to translate that file and make it Atmos compatible? Maybe panning will not be possible, but what about width? The simple answer to that question is no, not really. The thing with Atmos and there's a quality control, and it's not a case of just getting a stereo file and just going and kind of making it wide. It doesn't work like that. It's not. It doesn't translate well. It's not particularly professional, and it's not the way you do Atmos. I mean, like as an Atmos engineer, we have to have a certain quality control on what goes out on this platform, and that's just not the way you do it. So what he's basically asking is, can we get a stereo file and just literally put it into multiple speakers? Yes, we can, but it doesn't. It's not Atmos. It's almost like you get a stereo file and just put a big reverb on it that's an Atmos reverb. It's going to make that song sound like it's played into a room, if you know what I mean. So it's just going to give the reverbs round the room and on the ceiling, but the actual, still the song's going to come from the front. So it's just going to give you a kind of like the song's being played into a room. Which it doesn't give the same effect as separate stems. So you have like drums here, you have guitars here, you have trumpets here, you have pads over here, and you have other things, you know, other sounds all around you, and it creates this kind of soundscape around your head, and it sounds unbelievably good. Stereo, trying to take a stereo file and turn it into Atmos just doesn't really work. Obviously, you could do things like using the isotope music rebalance. You could extract the bass, put that in the center. You could then extract the drums kind of and put those to the left and right, and then, you know, maybe extract the vocal, kind of try and put that maybe into a stereo field, extract what the other, I think there's 4 elements you can extract, and try and put that at the back of the room. And I've not tried it, and I just thinking about it makes me cringe. So I wouldn't recommend trying it. But it just doesn't work. It really just doesn't work. It's not what Atmos is all about. Atmos is about having sounds around you, just individual sounds. Like imagine listening to a piece of music. This is exactly what it's like with Atmos. Imagine listening to a piece of music and guitars are coming from here, whilst drums are coming from here, and let's say the bass guitar is right down the center, coming straight from there, and then your subs are playing the bass guitar as well. The kick's got the LFE with the subs. Then you've got, let's say you got a harmonica, and let's say you put that round the back of your head here. You've got a lead guitar, which is up here. You know, everything's just coming from all different angles. And in the grand scheme of listening to that, it's like this fully immersive, beautiful piece of music that sounds so natural to how you actually hear music in real life. To take a stereo file and try and kind of deconvolve and pull out things and put stuff here from a stereo file, it's not natural. It's not going to sound natural. It's going to sound phasey. It's going to sound weird. It's going to not sound anywhere near what Atmos is about. And the reason Atmos is such a superior format to stereo is because of the individual parts of the mix are put into different areas of the room. And it's not just like, if you was to try and do it with a stereo file, for instance, you've got the stereo file there, and then if you was to put that out the back speakers and like roll off and do things like this so that the bass stays up the front, it wouldn't sound good, and it just wouldn't translate well. It really wouldn't. So I mean, you can do it, but no no engineer's really going to want to do it, and they're certainly not going to probably want to put their name to it. So it might have to be something that you kind of do yourself. I mean, I personally, I mean, I'd be happy to experiment with someone to try and achieve something that sounds good, but I wouldn't necessarily want to be doing it with a stereo mix. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. And the majority, you know, 99% people have access to get the stems. You've still got the session. If you've still got the session, just print the mixed stems out and do it properly. Believe me, it sounds incredible in comparison to a stereo file that's maybe got sends to the back of the room or taken bits and stuff out of the stereo mix. It just doesn't work.